The air hangs heavy with the scent of dust and ancient longing. A dry and evocative whisper of a people's journey etched into the very fabric of the parched and cracked earth beneath their weary and burdened feet. The ground trembling beneath the weight of a multitude poised on the edge of a destiny, teetering between the fragile hope of salvation and the abyss of despair that threatens to engulf them with darkness and hopelessness. The sky ablaze with the fading, golden light of a sun setting over the vast, windswept plains of Moab, casting long and haunting shadows that dance with the promise of a new and radiant dawn. A voice rising like a soft and ethereal whisper from the desolate and unforgiving wilderness. A song echoing through the corridors of time with a resonance that stirs the soul to its deepest and most sacred core. A light piercing the shadows of despair that cloak the heart in suffocating and oppressive darkness. Can the echoes of Moses' final breath, frail yet imbued with a divine and unyielding purpose that transcends the bounds of mortality and time, stir a flame of hope within the depths of your weary and burdened spirit? A hand reaching through the suffocating darkness of your trials with strength, compassion, and grace. A fire rekindling the embers of your faltering and dim resolve with warmth, renewal, and passion. A refuge amidst the storms that rage within your soul with peace, shelter, and solace. Might this tale of a nation's arduous and transformative journey unveil a faith unshaken by the tempests of life, a strength forged in the crucible of suffering that refines like the purest gold under the intense heat of trial, a grace that heals the deepest and most hidden wounds of your spirit with tenderness, mercy, and restoration. The book of Deuteronomy unfurls as a sacred and ancient scroll, its weathered and time-worn pages whispering eternal truths to a people standing on the brink of a promised land flowing with milk and honey, a land of abundance, prosperity, and divine promise, a mirror reflecting our own struggles with the shadows of doubt that cloud our minds with uncertainty, fear, and confusion, the demands of obedience that test our hearts with challenge, sacrifice and devotion, and the sacred call to love with every fiber of our being that defines our divine and eternal purpose with meaning, direction, and fulfillment. Will you walk this hallowed and treacherous path with them, or turn aside into the enveloping and deceptive shadows of self-reliance and pride? A heart hardened by the unyielding stone of pride, a soul adrift in the endless and desolate wilderness of despair, a life unanchored from his divine and unchanging purpose that calls you home with an everlasting and unconditional love. These are not fleeting whispers of a forgotten past, lost to the relentless and shifting sands of time that erode memory, heritage, and identity with oblivion, forgetfulness, and loss. They are a divine and holy summons, drawing you into a narrative that pulses with life and eternal purpose, a voice rising above the chaos of a restless and distracted world that seeks to pull you away from the path of righteousness, truth, and salvation with temptation, distraction, and deceit. A song resonating in the quiet and sacred chambers of your innermost soul with a melody of hope, redemption, peace, and joy. A light cutting through the thickest and most oppressive gloom that envelops your deepest and most profound fears with clarity, guidance, and illumination. A call stirring the depths of your being with a holy and urgent cry that demands a response of faith, devotion, surrender, and obedience. A hand lifting you from the ashes of despair that threaten to consume your existence with strength, grace, compassion, and mercy. A breath reviving your faltering and weary heart with new and vibrant life. A fire refining your resolve with the heat of divine and purifying purpose. A refuge shielding you from the tempests of life that seek to overwhelm your spirit with peace, protection, safety, and comfort. A strength uplifting you in the moments of your greatest and most profound weakness with resilience, power, endurance, and fortitude. A love everlasting that knows no bounds and spans the vast expanse of eternity with depth, fidelity, devotion, and commitment. Deuteronomy, the farewell address of Moses, emerges as more than a mere collection of laws etched in cold and unyielding stone. It is a covenant renewed with the lifeblood of promise that flows like a river of life, hope, and salvation. A blueprint for divine blessing poured out upon the faithful with abundance, grace, mercy, and prosperity, and a testament to God's unrelenting and unchanging faithfulness that echoes through the corridors of eternity with a power that cannot be silenced or diminished by the passage of time. The trials of life, or the forces of evil. The air carries the metallic and bitter tang of battle-scarred plains, where the blood of the fallen has soaked the earth with sacrifice, honor, remembrance, and redemption, mingled with the faint and sacred aroma of incense drifting from makeshift altars raised in the heart of the wilderness with devotion, reverence, worship, and prayer. The ground quakes with the rhythmic and determined march of a liberated multitude and the weight of prophetic words spoken in the stillness of the night with authority. Wisdom, foresight, and divine inspiration, the earth yields to the unyielding and sovereign will of the Almighty that governs all creation with precision. Justice, love, and mercy. The sky splits with the brilliance of His righteous and holy justice that shines like the sun with radiance. Glory and splendor. The heavens bear witness to His eternal and unbreakable plan that unfolds with divine wisdom, purpose, grace, and fulfillment. The plains of Moab hum with the soft and hesitant murmurs of a new generation, born in the crucible of the desert's harsh and unforgiving embrace. Their voices trembling with the weight of their heritage, the burden of their past struggles, failures, and triumphs. The banks of the Jordan River whisper with the tension of anticipation that grips their trembling and uncertain hearts with expectation, longing, and hope. The towering and majestic mountains of Sinai echo with the haunting and unforgettable memory of fire and smoke that once enveloped them in the awe-inspiring and sacred presence of the divine. The vast and unrelenting wilderness stretches endlessly with lessons of endurance, faith, and the abundant provision of a loving and merciful God. The air filled with the sweet scent of hope mingled with the trepidation of the unknown that lies ahead like a shadowy veil of mystery, uncertainty, and fear. The ground trembling with the weight of a momentous and life-altering transition that defines their future with purpose, destiny, and fulfillment. The sky reflecting the turmoil of a people's critical and defining choice that shapes their destiny with decision, resolve, and faith. The earth groaning with the burden of their storied and tumultuous past that molds their character with experience, strength, wisdom, and resilience. This is a saga of preparation, of a people shaped by the trials and tribulations of the desert sands that test their mettle with fire, resolve, and perseverance, and of a God whose boundless and unconditional love demands a response that echoes through the corridors of eternity with a power that cannot be ignored or diminished with the passage of time. The trials of life, or the challenges of the world. To embrace this sacred and transformative truth is to stand on holy ground, where fear dissolves like mist before the golden and radiant dawn, and faith ignites with a fervor that cannot be quenched by the storms of life. A beacon illuminating your darkest and most treacherous night, with hope, guidance, light, and salvation. A refuge shielding your trembling and vulnerable spirit with peace, safety, comfort, and protection. A strength uplifting your weary and burdened soul with courage, fortitude, resilience, and power. A light guiding your uncertain and faltering steps with clarity, direction, purpose, and meaning. A voice comforting your lonely and aching heart with solace, love, compassion, and mercy. A hand steadying your journey through the storms of life with strength, support, stability, and grace. A fire purifying your innermost will with holy and refining fire. A song lifting your praise to the heavens above with joy, celebration, gratitude, and worship. A love enduring all the trials that beset you with resilience, fidelity, devotion, and commitment. A peace transcending the storms of life that rage around with calm, serenity, tranquility, and assurance. a joy blossoming in the arid wilderness of your soul with beauty, renewal, life, and hope, a grace overflowing in boundless and unending mercy with abundance, compassion, forgiveness, and love, a legacy crowning your earthly walk with divine and eternal purpose. For to turn from this divine and holy call is to wander in the desolate and forsaken wilderness of self, your heart a barren wasteland stripped of life and vitality with desolation, emptiness, and loss. Your soul a vessel without anchor tossed by the seas of chaos and confusion with turmoil, unrest in despair. Your spirit crushed beneath the fury of the tempest that rages without mercy or respite with destruction, ruin, and devastation. Your voice silenced in the oppressive and suffocating dark that envelops you with gloom, despair, and hopelessness. Your life adrift in a sea of unending and relentless turmoil with uncertainty, fear, and doubt. Your hope buried beneath the crushing and unyielding weight of pride that blinds your eyes with arrogance, self-deception, and pride. Your faith eroded by the relentless and shifting sands of doubt that undermine your foundation with weakness, instability, and fragility. Your love unawakened by the gentle and healing touch of grace that restores your soul with peace, renewal, and salvation. Your peace lost in the cacophony of strife that surrounds you with noise, discord, and conflict. Your joy dimmed by the shadows of unrelenting and pervasive fear that haunts your nights with dread, anxiety, and terror. Your strength untested by the fires of divine and purifying trial that refine your character with holiness, purity, and righteousness. Your obedience forsaken in the gloom of rebellion that misguides your path with error, sin, and disobedience. Your destiny unfulfilled in the silence of neglect and despair that defines your existence with emptiness, loss, and regret. But to know this God is to feel His presence ignite a sacred and transformative flame within the depths of your being with warmth, passion, light, and love. To hear His voice in the stillness of your soul with a clarity that calms your fears with peace, assurance, and comfort. A whisper soothing the raging storm that threatens to overwhelm you with strength, stability, and protection. To sense His power as a light breaking the endless and oppressive night with brilliance, hope, and salvation. A promise carved in the constellations that light the heavens above with guidance, assurance, and faith. A hand raising you from the ruins of despair that have held you captive with power, love, and redemption. A breath reviving your weary and broken spirit with new and vibrant life. A song leading your wandering and lost path with direction, purpose, and hope. A fire cleansing the dross and impurities of your soul with purity, holiness, and renewal. A refuge shielding your trembling and vulnerable heart with peace, security, and comfort. A strength never failing in the moments of your greatest and most profound weakness with resilience, fortitude, and power. A love spanning the vast expanse of eternity with depth, fidelity, devotion, and commitment. A peace beyond the grasp of human understanding with serenity, calm, and tranquility. A joy rising phoenix-like from the ashes of your deepest and most enduring sorrow, with triumph, renewal, and victory. A grace flooding the arid and desolate plains of your life with abundance, mercy, forgiveness, and love. A redemption crowning your journey with hope, purpose, and fulfillment. A presence ever near in the quiet and sacred moments of your existence with intimacy, companionship, and divine connection. Step reverently into this sacred and transformative odyssey, for it is a pilgrimage where the spirit finds its eternal and unshakable mooring in the harbor of divine love with security, peace, and stability, a haven hewn from the unyielding and ancient rock of eternity with strength, stability, and permanence, a light piercing the deepest and most terrifying abyss of your fears with hope, courage, and faith, a voice resounding with clarity in the quietest and most desolate hour of your doubt with assurance, faith, and guidance, a hand steadying you with unshakable strength in the fiercest and most unrelenting gale of life's storms with protection, safety, and support. A fire warming the coldest and darkest night of your soul with comfort, warmth, and renewal. A breath reviving you with life in the wildest and most chaotic storms of your trials with vitality, renewal, and strength. A song echoing with hope in the loneliest and most forsaken wilderness of your heart, with joy, solace, and peace. A love illuminating the blackest and most impenetrable void of your despair with light, love, and redemption. A hope anchoring you with certainty in the raging and tumultuous tempest of your struggles with peace, stability, and faith. A glory awaiting you in the ultimate and triumphant victory of faith with splendor, majesty, and triumph. The air grows thick with the scent of dust and longing as Moses, the faithful and devoted servant of the Almighty, stands before a nation on the cusp of a divine and promised future. The ground beneath him steady with the weight of his 120 years etched in wisdom, weariness, experience, and divine encounter. The sky a vast and expansive canvas painted with the hues of his final and sorrowful gaze. The earth trembling with the profound and enduring legacy he bequeaths to a new and eager generation. The faint sound of the people's breath, a whisper of anticipation that fills the air with expectancy, hope, and faith. The air saturated with the rich scent of his wisdom, distilled through decades of trial, triumph, tribulation, and divine communion. The ground quaking with the authority of his voice that commands attention, respect, obedience, and reverence. The sky reflecting the deep and poignant sorrow of his impending parting. The earth yielding to the unyielding resolve etched in the lines of his weathered and aged face. This is the moment where the past converges with the promise of a radiant and hopeful future, where the harsh and unforgiving wilderness yields to the verdant and flowing promise of Canaan, where a leader's voice becomes a beacon of light and hope for generations yet unborn and unseen. A legacy that will endure through the ages with strength, permanence, purpose, and divine favor. The narrative begins with Moses, his eyes weary yet burning with a purpose, forged in the fires of divine encounter and tempered by the trials of leadership. Addressing a people who stand at the very edge of their long-awaited and hard-earned breakthrough, so close they can taste the sweet and nourishing milk and honey of the promised land, yet held back by the haunting and persistent echoes of doubt that linger in their minds with uncertainty, fear, and hesitation. The unrelenting murmurings of rebellion that stir their hearts with discord, defiance, and unrest, and the heavy and burdensome weight of their ancestors' failures that cast a shadow over their souls with regret, shame, and sorrow. This is no ordinary and mundane book. It is Moses' farewell, a heartfelt and soul-stirring plea carved into the eternal and unchangeable annals of time with the precision of a master craftsman. A reminder of God's unbreakable and everlasting promises that stand firm like the mountains of eternity. A call to faithfulness that reverberates through the corridors of eternity with a resonance that cannot be ignored or silenced. The air humming with the scent of his unwavering and steadfast devotion. The ground firm with the weight of his enduring and timeless legacy. The sky a mirror reflecting the hope that shines within the depths of his words. The earth trembling with the sacred and holy charge he imparts to his beloved people. The faint sound of his voice, a whisper of eternity. The air filled with the scent of his wisdom. The ground steady with his faith. The sky reflecting his love. The earth yielding to his purpose. The faint sound of their breath, a hymn of expectation. The air humming with the scent of their hope. The ground firm with their anticipation. The sky a canvas of their faith. The earth trembling with their resolve. The faint sound of their prayers a whisper of unity. The air filled with the scent of their devotion. The ground steady with their trust. The sky reflecting their strength. The earth yielding to their love. The faint sound of their songs a hymn of hope. The air humming with the scent of their faith. The ground firm with their courage. The sky a mirror of their hope. The earth trembling with their devotion. The faint sound of their voices a whisper of peace. The air filled with the scent of their love. the ground steady with their faith, the sky reflecting their hope, the earth yielding to their strength, the faint sound of their chants a hymn of unity, the air humming with the scent of their resilience, the ground firm with their determination, the sky a canvas of their faith, the earth trembling with their hope, the faint sound of their prayers a whisper of faith, the air filled with the scent of their trust, the ground steady with their love, the sky reflecting their courage, the earth yielding to their strength, the faint sound of their songs a hymn of devotion, the air humming with the scent of their hope, the ground firm with their faith, the sky a mirror of their love, the earth trembling with their resolve. The wilderness journey, a mirror of faith, struggle, and divine providence. The air is thick with the lingering and oppressive memory of Egypt's iron chains that once bound their spirits with unrelenting and crushing force, a reminder of their past enslavement that echoes through their souls with pain, suffering, and a longing for freedom and liberation. The ground scarred and deeply etched by the relentless and weary footsteps of a wandering multitude that traverse the desert sands with perseverance, determination, and hope. The sky a silent and majestic witness to both the miracles that defied the laws of nature with awe, wonder and divine power in the murmurs of discontent that rose from their ranks like a bitter and unrelenting wind with bitterness, frustration, and rebellion. The earth groaning with the heavy and burdensome weight of a people's unbelief that tested their resolve with every arduous, challenging, and wary step. The faint rustle of the desert wind, a lament of lost trust that echoes through the ages with a haunting and mournful melody. The air filled with the arid and parched scent of the wilderness earth and the delicate and life-sustaining aroma of menu that fell from the heavens with grace, provision, and mercy. The ground trembling with the rhythmic and persistent cadence of their grumbling voices that rose like a tide of unrest with discontent, rebellion, and despair. The sky reflecting the deep and pervasive shadows of their fear that clouded their vision with doubt, uncertainty, and hesitation. The earth yielding to the wavering and fragile faith that flickered within their trembling and uncertain hearts with fragility, hope, and vulnerability. Can you feel the profound and overwhelming weight of their arduous and transformative journey? The subtle and life-giving scent of manna drifting on the arid and unforgiving breeze with sustenance, nourishment, and divine care. The ground shaking with the force of their complaints that rose like a chorus of discontent with bitterness, frustration, and anger. The sky clouded with the darkness of their doubts that obscured their hope with despair, hopelessness, and fear. The earth stained with the salty and bitter tears of their despair that marked their path with sorrow, regret, and pain. Might this tale of a nation's struggle and unwavering perseverance mirror your own battles with the impatience that gnaws at the edges of your soul with restlessness, agitation, and longing. A heart restless for the fulfillment of God's perfect and divine timing with expectation, hope, and faith. A soul wrestling with the silence that seems to envelop His sacred and holy presence with mystery, quiet, and introspection. A spirit yearning for the gentle and healing touch of His divine and loving hand with hope, comfort, and restoration. The story of Deuteronomy opens with Moses casting his weathered and insightful gaze backward with the wisdom of a seasoned and battle-tested leader, not to dwell in the shadows of a painful and regret-filled yesterday with sorrow, remorse, and reflection, but to draw forth timeless and transformative lessons for a new generation standing on the windswept and sacred plains of Moab with anticipation, readiness, and hope. The air humming with the sweet and enduring scent of liberation's memory that lingers in their souls with gratitude, thanksgiving, and joy. The ground steady with the unshakable and divine weight of deliverance that defines their identity with purpose, belonging, and strength. The sky a vast and radiant canvas painted with the vibrant hues of redemption that inspire their hearts with joy, renewal, and faith. The earth trembling with the awe-inspiring and miraculous power that shattered the might of Pharaoh's oppressive and tyrannical rule with authority, might, and justice. This is the Exodus retold with a voice that commands attention and reverence with power, dignity, and clarity. A narrative of unparalleled and miraculous rescue that defies human comprehension with wonder, awe, and divine intervention. God's mighty and outstretched hand stretching across the churning and tumultuous waters of the Red Sea with divine authority, strength, and grace. His voice thundering over the waves to still their raging and uncontrollable fury with a single and commanding word of peace, power, and dominion. His presence a pillar of guiding and protective fire by the stillness of night and a cloud of comforting shade by the heat of day. The air filled with the briny and liberating scent of salt water that marks their freedom with liberation, joy, and deliverance. The ground quaking with the thunderous and resounding sound of chariots sinking into the depths of oblivion with a final and echoing cry of defeat. The sky splitting with the brilliance of His divine and holy glory that illuminates their path with light, guidance, and hope. The earth yielding to the miracle of His salvation that defies all human understanding and expectation with awe, reverence, and gratitude. Yet, this hard-won and precious freedom came with a profound and often painful cost that shaped their destiny with sacrifice, resilience, and purpose. A crucible of faith that tested the Israelites in the unforgiving and relentless wilderness with trials that refined their character with fire, perseverance, and strength. The air heavy with the pungent and transformative scent of their struggles that defined their journey with purpose, meaning, and growth. The ground scarred by the wanderings that marked their path with endurance, resilience, and determination. The sky reflecting the challenges that tested their resolve with every arduous, weary, and painful step. The earth groaning with the burdens that weighed upon their spirits with heaviness, sorrow, and longing. The faint sound of their footsteps, a whisper of perseverance that echoed through the ages with determination, strength, and hope. The air filled with the scent of their tenacity that sustained them with courage, resolve, and faith. The ground trembling with their resilience that fortified them with hope, endurance, and unity. The sky a mirror of their hope that guided them with light, direction, and purpose. The earth yielding to their faith that anchored them with stability, trust, and love. The faint sound of their prayers, a hymn of supplication that rose with fervor, faith, and devotion. The air humming with the scent of their devotion that inspired their souls with purpose, meaning, and inspiration. The ground steady with their trust that upheld their hearts with love, compassion, and strength. The sky reflecting their courage that strengthened their resolve with power, determination, and bravery. The earth trembling with their strength that prevailed with victory, triumph, and glory. And the wilderness was no mere and insignificant detour along their sacred and divinely ordained path. It was a holy and transformative forge of the soul. The air thick with the pungent and oppressive scent of doubt that clouded their minds with confusion, uncertainty, and fear. The acrid and bitter tang of despair that weighed on their hearts with heaviness, gloom, and sorrow. The ground quaking with the echo of their complaints that rose like a chorus of discontent with bitterness, frustration, and rebellion. The sky darkening with the oppressive and rebellious shadow of their defiance against divine authority with pride, arrogance, and disobedience. The earth trembling with the gnawing and persistent hunger that tested their endurance with every passing, weary, and challenging day. The faint sound of their murmurs, a whisper of unrest that filled the air with tension, discord, and conflict. The air saturated with the scent of their fear that gripped their trembling and uncertain hearts with terror, dread, and anxiety. The ground stained with the salty and bitter tears of their frustration that marked their journey with sorrow, regret, and pain. The sky a vast canvas reflecting their unrest that clouded their vision with doubt, despair, and hesitation. The earth yielding to the frailty and human weakness that defined their condition with vulnerability, need, and humility. Moses, with the wisdom and insight of a seasoned and battle-tested leader who has walked with God face to face with intimacy. Communion and divine revelation recounts the sobering and pivotal moment at Kadesh Barnea with a voice that carries the weight of experience, authority, conviction, and power, where 12 spies ventured into the verdant and promised land of Canaan with hope, expectation, and anticipation in their hearts. Their reports splitting the camp like a thunderclap across the desolate and unforgiving desert sky with a sound that shattered their unity with discord, division, and conflict. The air humming with the sweet and intoxicating scent of promise that lingered on the breeze with allure, invitation, and possibility. The ground steady with the unshakable and radiant hope that filled their souls with light, joy, and inspiration. The sky bright with the luminous and inviting possibility that shone before their eyes with promise, potential, and opportunity. The earth trembling with the anticipation that pulsed through their veins with excitement, energy, and eagerness. The land flowed with the richness and abundance of milk and honey that promised prosperity, plenty, fertility, and abundance. Its fruit heavy with the weight of God's unbroken and eternal promise that stood firm with reliability, truth, and faithfulness. Clusters of grapes so large and succulent that they required the combined strength of 2 men to carry them with effort, determination, and teamwork. The air filled with the intoxicating and ripe scent of ripened vines that whispered of abundance, richness, and generosity. The ground fertile with the bounty that awaited their harvest with promise, provision, and reward. The sky reflecting the lushness and fertility of the land that beckoned them forward with invitation, hope, and encouragement. The earth yielding to the prosperity that lay within their grasp with opportunity, potential, and destiny. Yet, fear seized the trembling and uncertain hearts of 10 of the spies with an iron and unyielding grip that paralyzed their resolve with hesitation, doubt, and cowardice. Their voices quaking with tales of giants clad in gleaming and formidable armor that intimidated their spirits with terror, dread, and insecurity, their eyes blind to the omnipotent and unshakable power of God that stood ready to deliver them with might, authority, and grace. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in theirs, Numbers 13:33. The air souring with the pungent and overwhelming scent of panic that spread like wildfire through their ranks with contagion, fear, and chaos. The ground quaking with the force of their cowardice that shook their resolve to its very core with weakness, uncertainty, and fragility. The sky darkening with the oppressive and heavy weight of their disbelief that clouded their judgment with confusion, despair, and hopelessness. The earth groaning with the depth of their unbelief that undermined their faith with doubt, skepticism, and faithlessness. This act of rebellion and defiance condemned them to 40 years of aimless and grueling wandering through the unforgiving and barren desert with punishment, exile, and hardship. A generation lost to the paralyzing and unyielding grip of doubt that held them captive with chains of fear, regret, and sorrow. Their bones bleaching under the relentless and scorching sun that burned without mercy, compassion, or respite. The air heavy with the acrid and bitter scent of their failure that hung like a pall over their spirits with gloom, despair, and shame. The ground trembling with the unyielding and divine weight of their judgment that fell upon them with severity, justice, and retribution. The sky is silent in mournful witness to their demise that marked their end with finality, loss, and silence. The earth yielding to the silence that followed their fall with a heavy and sorrowful heart. The faint sound of their cries, a lament lost to the wind that carried their regrets into oblivion with mourning, grief, and regret. The air filled with the bitter and haunting scent of their regret that lingered with remorse, shame, and repentance. The ground stained with the salty and sorrowful tears of their despair that fell with grief, hopelessness, and anguish. The sky reflecting the shame that enveloped them like a shroud with guilt, humiliation, and sorrow. The earth trembling with the loss that defined their legacy with defeat, mourning, and reflection. Yet, even in the depths of their disobedience and waywardness that marked their path with sin, rebellion, and error, God's faithfulness shone like a beacon, piercing the enveloping and oppressive night with a light that guided their way with hope, salvation, and redemption. The air sweet with the delicate and life-giving scent of manna, falling like gentle dew from the heavens above with provision, care, and mercy. The ground firm with the steadfast and abundant provision that sustained them through the trials with nourishment, strength, and endurance. The sky bright with the radiant and comforting care that enveloped them with warmth, protection, and love. The earth trembling with the boundless and merciful love that upheld them with grace, compassion, and forgiveness. The faint sound of water gushing from the flinty and unyielding rock at Meribah, a hymn of divine sustenance that filled the air with hope, renewal, and life. The air filled with the soothing and healing scent of divine grace that comforted their souls with peace, solace, and tranquility. The ground steady with the unshakable and eternal faithfulness that anchored them with stability, trust, and security. The sky a vast and luminous canvas of his compassion that shone above with brilliance, mercy, and love. The earth yielding to the love that never wavered or faltered with consistency, care, and devotion. The faint sound of their songs, a whisper of gratitude that rose with thanksgiving, praise, and joy. The air humming with the scent of their reliance that strengthened their spirits with power, courage, and faith. The ground firm with their faith that endured with conviction, belief, and loyalty. The sky reflecting their hope that uplifted their hearts with joy, inspiration, and vision. The earth trembling with their devotion that bound them with unity, harmony, and love. For 40 years, their clothes did not wear out with the passage of time that eroded their strength and endurance. Their feet did not swell with the weariness of the journey that tested them with exhaustion and fatigue. Deuteronomy 8:4. Water flowed with life and vitality from the unyielding and rocky surface at Meribah to quench their parched and thirsty throats with relief, sustenance, and renewal. And manna sustained them day by day with the generous and unfailing provision of heaven that never ceased or failed. A testament to a God who upheld them not because of their inherent or deserved worthiness that they lacked with humility and repentance, but because of his unbreakable and eternal covenant that bound them to him with an unbreakable and sacred bond. The air humming with the sweet and nourishing scent of his divine and unending provision that sustained their bodies with life and vitality. The ground quaking with the depth of their dependence upon his sustaining and loving hand. The sky reflecting the steadfastness that defined his unchanging and holy character with fidelity, truth, and righteousness. The earth groaning with the gratitude that filled their hearts with thanksgiving, praise, and joy. The faint sound of their prayers, a whisper of hope that rose to the heavens with fervor, faith, and devotion. The air filled with the scent of their reliance that strengthened their souls with power, courage, and resilience. The ground steady with their trust that anchored their spirits with stability, security, and love. The sky a mirror of his grace that uplifted their hearts with joy, compassion, and mercy. The earth trembling with their redemption that renewed their lives with purpose, meaning, and hope. This sacred and profound truth is a mirror held up to the reflection of our own lives with startling and illuminating clarity that reveals the depths of our souls. How often do we be like the wayward and rebellious children of Israel who strayed from the path of righteousness and truth? Allow the chilling and paralyzing grip of fear to halt our faltering and uncertain steps with hesitation, doubt, and insecurity, forgetting the miracles of our own past that testify to his mighty and transformative power with evidence, proof, and wonder. The air heavy with the lingering and oppressive scent of our lingering doubts that haunt our minds with uncertainty, fear, and confusion. The ground trembling with the hesitations that grip our hearts with anxiety, trepidation, and worry. The sky clouded with the uncertainties that obscure our vision with confusion, despair, and hopelessness. The earth stained with the tears of our despair that mark our journey with sorrow, pain, and regret. The wilderness was their sacred and hallowed teacher with wisdom, insight, and guidance. A season of refining where God's boundless and unending grace sustained them through the faltering and uncertain steps of their fragile and human faith. With mercy, compassion, and love, the air filled with the rich and instructive scent of the lessons that shaped their character with understanding, growth, and maturity. The ground steady with the divine and corrective discipline that guided them with love, care, and patience. The sky bright with the growth that emerged from their trials with resilience, strength, and courage. The earth yielding to the transformation that defined their souls with purpose, meaning, and direction. The faint sound of their songs, a hymn of endurance that rose with power, determination, and faith. The air humming with the scent of renewal that refreshed their spirits with vitality, life, and hope. The ground firm with their resilience that sustained their hope with courage, fortitude, and unity. The sky a mirror of their faith that shone with light, guidance, and inspiration. The earth trembling with their redemption that uplifted their lives with joy. Restoration and peace, the faint sound of their footsteps, a whisper of hope that echoed through the ages with promise, potential, and faith. The air filled with the scent of their perseverance that endured with tenacity, resolve, and strength. The ground steady with their courage that fortified their hearts with bravery, power, and determination. The sky reflecting their trust that guided their path with direction, clarity, and purpose. The earth yielding to their strength that prevailed with victory, triumph, and glory. Moses' words are a clarion and resounding call to remember with gratitude and reverence that echoes through the corridors of time with power, authority, and wisdom. To see the wilderness not as wasted and barren years lost to the relentless and shifting sands of time with regret, sorrow, and loss, but as a sacred and hallowed space where God shapes his chosen and beloved people with a loving and guiding hand with care, compassion, and grace. The air sweet with the scent of his divine and unwavering guidance that directs their steps with clarity, purpose, and direction. The ground steady with the purpose that defines their path with meaning, direction, and destiny. The sky reflecting the intricate and divine plan that unfolds before them with precision, wisdom, and foresight. The earth yielding to the will that governs their destiny with authority, power, and love. The faint sound of their reflections, a whisper of wisdom that enlightens their minds with insight, understanding, and knowledge. The air humming with the scent of gratitude that fills their hearts with joy, thanksgiving, and praise. The ground firm with their remembrance that anchors their souls with stability, peace, and strength. The sky a canvas of his faithfulness that inspires their spirits with hope, vision, and faith. The earth trembling with their faith that sustains their hope with strength, conviction, and devotion. The faint sound of their prayers, a hymn of devotion that rises with fervor, faith, and love. The air filled with the scent of their trust that strengthens their resolve with courage, power, and resilience. The ground steady with their hope that uplifts their spirits with joy, inspiration, and peace. The sky reflecting their love that binds them together with unity, harmony, and compassion. The earth yielding to their strength that endures with power, victory, and glory. The faint sound of their songs, a whisper of praise that ascends to the heavens with gratitude and adoration. The air humming with the scent of their courage that fortifies their hearts with bravery and determination. The ground firm with their devotion that inspires their souls with purpose and passion. The sky a mirror of his grace that comforts their minds with solace, peace, and love. The earth trembling with their love that heals their wounds with mercy and forgiveness. He recalls with vivid and detailed memory the victories over the formidable and mighty King Sihon and Og, whose strength once seemed an insurmountable and daunting barrier to their progress and survival with intimidation. Fear and despair. The air filled with the heady and triumphant scent of victory that rose from the blood-soaked and hallowed battlefield with glory, honor, and triumph. The ground quaking with the thunderous and resounding sound of battle, that whisper of wisdom that enlightens their minds with insight, understanding, and knowledge. The air humming with the scent of gratitude that fills their hearts with joy. Thanksgiving and praise. The ground firm with their remembrance that anchors their souls with stability, peace, and strength. The sky a canvas of his faithfulness that inspires their spirits with hope, vision, and faith. The earth trembling with their faith that sustains their hope with strength, conviction, and devotion. The faint sound of their prayers, a hymn of devotion that rises with fervor, faith, and love. The air filled with the scent of their trust that strengthens their resolve with courage, power, and resilience. The ground steady with their hope that uplifts their spirits with joy, inspiration, and peace. The sky reflecting their love that binds them together with unity, harmony, and compassion. The earth yielding to their strength that endures with power, victory, and glory. The faint sound of their songs, a whisper of praise that ascends to the heavens with gratitude and adoration. The air humming with the scent of their courage that fortifies their hearts with bravery and determination. The ground firm with their devotion that inspires their souls with purpose and passion. The sky a mirror of his grace that comforts their minds with solace, peace, and love. The earth trembling with their love that heals their wounds with mercy and forgiveness. He recalls with vivid and detailed memory the victories over the formidable and mighty King Sihon and Og, whose strength once seemed an insurmountable and daunting barrier to their progress and survival with intimidation. Fear and despair. The air filled with the heady and triumphant scent of victory that rose from the blood-soaked and hallowed battlefield with glory, honor, and triumph. The ground quaking with the thunderous and resounding sound of battle that shook the earth with fury, might, and power. The sky bright with the radiant and divine deliverance that shone upon them with light, salvation, and hope. The earth trembling with the conquest that marked their journey with triumph, pride, and victory. The faint sound of their victory songs, a hymn of praise that filled the air with joy, celebration, and gratitude. The air humming with the scent of their success that uplifted their spirits with elation, joy, and thanksgiving. The ground firm with the faith that sustained them through the fight with resilience, determination, and courage. The sky a canvas of their gratitude that shone with brightness, appreciation, and praise. The earth yielding to the trust that guided them with purpose, direction, and faith. The faint sound of their chants, a whisper of glory that resonated with power, majesty, and honor. The air filled with the scent of their courage that fortified their hearts with strength, bravery, and resolve. The ground steady with their resolve that endured with perseverance, tenacity, and faith. The sky reflecting their hope that inspired their souls with vision, purpose, and inspiration. The earth trembling with their strength that prevailed with victory, conquest, and glory. The Lord your God is the one who goes before you, Deuteronomy 1:30. A promise that echoes with resonance and power through their long and winding journey filled with trials, tribulations, and challenges. The air heavy with the scent of his abiding and comforting presence that envelops them with peace, solace, and love. The ground steady with the guidance that leads them with clarity, direction, and purpose. The sky reflecting the power that protects them with might, authority, and grace. The earth trembling with the assurance that comforts them with hope, security, and stability. The faint sound of his voice, a whisper of tranquility that calms their fears with peace, comfort, and assurance. The air humming with the scent of his protection that shields them from harm with safety, strength, and care. The ground firm with his care that nurtures their spirits with love, compassion, and support. The sky a mirror of his love that sustains their hearts with mercy, grace, and devotion. The earth yielding to his strength that upholds their lives with power, resilience, and endurance. The faint sound of their songs, a hymn of trust that rises with faith, devotion, and gratitude. The air filled with the scent of their devotion that inspires their souls with purpose, meaning, and inspiration. The ground steady with their courage that fortifies their resolve with strength, bravery, and determination. The sky reflecting their hope that guides their path with light, direction, and clarity. The earth trembling with their love that binds them with unity, harmony, and peace. The faint sound of their prayers, a whisper of peace that calms their spirits with tranquility. The air humming with the scent of their faith that sustains. The ground firm with their trust that anchors. The sky a canvas of his mercy that heals. The earth yielding to their strength that prevails. Yet, Moses does not shy away from the stark and unvarnished reality of their failures, their incessant and persistent grumbling that rose like a tide of unrest with bitterness, discontent, and rebellion. Their flirtation with the dark and seductive allure of idolatry that stained their souls with sin, shame, corruption, and guilt. Their repeated and unrelenting questioning of God's holy and perfect motives with doubt, skepticism, and unbelief. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You did not trust him or obey him, Deuteronomy 9:23. The air souring with the pungent and overwhelming scent of their rebellion that filled the air with tension, discord, and conflict. The ground quaking with the force of their defiance that shook their foundation with case. Upheaval and instability. The sky darkening with the oppressive and heavy weight of their shame that clouded their vision with guilt, regret, and sorrow. The earth groaning with the depth of their disobedience that marked their path with sorrow, loss, and regret. The faint sound of their protests, a whisper of unrest that lingered with defiance, rebellion, and pride. The air heavy with the scent of their error that misguided their steps with folly, mistake, and sin. The ground stained with the tears of their regret that fell with grief, remorse, and repentance. The sky reflecting their guilt that haunted their minds with shame, sorrow, and humiliation. The earth trembling with their remorse that weighed upon their hearts with burden, pain, and sorrow. These reminders are not intended to shame them into a silence of despair with condemnation, judgment, and reproach, but to teach them with a gentle and loving hand that guides with wisdom, compassion, and understanding. The air filled with the scent of divine correction that leads them back to the path with mercy, grace, and forgiveness. The ground firm with the mercy that upholds them with love, compassion, and support. The sky a mirror of the patience that sustains them with hope, endurance, and faith. The earth yielding to the grace that redeems them with salvation, restoration, and renewal. The faint sound of their repentance, a hymn of hope that rises with renewal, faith and devotion. The air humming with the scent of forgiveness that heals their wounds with comfort, peace and healing. The ground steady with their renewal that restores their spirits with joy, strength and peace. The sky reflecting their growth that inspires their souls with vision, purpose and inspiration. The earth trembling with their faith that endures with strength, conviction and loyalty. The faint sound of their prayers, a whisper of peace that calms their hearts with tranquility, solace, and love. The air filled with the scent of their trust that uplifts their spirits with hope, courage, and resilience. The ground firm with their hope that anchors their souls with stability, security, and faith. The sky a canvas of his compassion that comforts their minds with solace, love, and mercy. The earth yielding to their strength that prevails with power, resilience, and victory. For those of us journeying through the landscapes of our own lives with determination, purpose, and faith, the wilderness experience is a profound and reflective mirror of our spiritual odyssey with depth, meaning, and transformation. The air heavy with the scent of our personal struggles that define our character with trials, tests, and challenges. The ground trembling with the doubts that assail our minds with uncertainty, fear, and hesitation. The sky clouded with the fears that haunt our nights with shadows, dread, and anxiety. The earth stained with the tears that mark our days with sorrow, pain, and regret. The faint sound of our seas a whisper of longing that echoes with yearning, desire, and hope. The air filled with the scent of our trials that test our resolve with difficulty, challenge, and adversity. The ground quaking with our uncertainties that challenge our faith with doubt, skepticism, and questioning. The sky reflecting our questions that seek answers with hope, seeking, and faith. The earth groaning with our pain that endures with suffering, struggle, and perseverance. How often do we find ourselves standing at our own Kadesh Barnea with bated breath and eager anticipation? The air filled with the sweet and tantalizing scent of opportunity that beckons us forward with promise, potential, and possibility. The ground steady with the promise that lies before us with hope, expectation, and faith. The sky bright with the radiant hope that shines above with light, guidance, and inspiration. The earth yielding to the possibility that awaits with purpose, destiny, and fulfillment, only to shrink back in the chilling and paralyzing grip of fear that holds us captive with hesitation, doubt, and insecurity. The wilderness seasons of our existence waiting with patience and perseverance for a longed-for and fulfilling job that sustains our lives with provision, purpose, and stability. Healing from the deep and painful wounds of loss that pierce the soul with grief, mourning, and sorrow. Seeking direction in the thick and confusing fog of uncertainty that blinds our path with confusion. Disorientation and despair mirror the trials of Israel with an uncanny and striking precision that resonates with our own experiences and struggles. The air humming with the scent of our impatience that chafes at our spirits with restlessness, agitation, and frustration. The ground quaking with the restlessness that stirs within our hearts with unease, longing, and desire. The sky reflecting the uncertainty that clouds our minds with doubt, fear, and confusion. The earth groaning with the longing that fills our souls with yearning, hope, and faith. The faint sound of our prayers, a whisper of faith that rises with hope, trust, and devotion. The air filled with the scent of our hope that endures with resilience, strength, and courage. The ground steady with our trust that anchors us with stability, security, and peace. The sky a mirror of our resilience that shines with light, determination, and faith. The earth trembling with our endurance that prevails with power, victory, and triumph. Yet, like the faithful and obedient children of Israel, sustained by the divine and generous provision of a loving and merciful God, we are upheld with consistency and care by a God who provides with unwavering and abundant grace. The air sweet with the tender and comforting scent of His care that envelops us with warmth, protection, and love. The ground firm with the faithfulness that anchors us with strength, stability, and support. The sky a vast and luminous canvas of His boundless love that shines upon us with radiance, compassion, and mercy. The earth trembling with the grace that sustains us with mercy, forgiveness, and renewal. The faint sound of His voice, a hymn of comfort that soothes our souls with peace, tranquility, and solace. The air humming with the scent of His provision that nourishes our bodies with sustenance, life, and vitality. The ground steady with His strength that upholds our lives with power, resilience, and endurance. The sky reflecting His mercy that heals our wounds with compassion, care, and healing. The earth yielding to His compassion that restores our spirits with renewal, hope, and joy. The faint sound of our gratitude, a whisper of praise that ascends to the heavens with joy. Thanksgiving and adoration, the air filled with the scent of our reliance that strengthens our hearts with courage, fortitude, and faith. The ground firm with our faith that endures with conviction, belief and loyalty. The sky a mirror of his promise that guides our path with direction, clarity and purpose. The earth trembling with our hope that lifts our souls with inspiration, vision and love. This sacred and transformative call to remember with gratitude and reverence is our unshakable and eternal anchor that holds us fast with security, peace and stability. The air filled with the scent of gratitude that lifts our spirits with joy. Thanksgiving and praise, the ground steady with the trust that grounds us with stability, calm and strength. The sky bright with the promises that guide us with clarity, direction and purpose. The earth yielding to the faith that defines us with meaning, direction and destiny. The faint sound of our songs, a hymn of joy that rises with celebration, gratitude and worship. The air humming with the scent of renewal that refreshes our souls with life, vitality and hope. The ground firm with our courage that fortifies our resolve with strength, determination and bravery. The sky reflecting our strength that uplifts our spirits with power, resilience and endurance. The earth trembling with our love that binds us together with unity, harmony and compassion. The faint sound of our voices, a whisper of hope that echoes with promise, potential and faith. The air filled with the scent of our devotion that inspires our hearts with purpose, passion and love. The ground steady with our resolve that endures with perseverance, faith and strength. The sky a canvas of his grace that comforts our minds with solace, peace and love. The earth yielding to our faith that prevails with victory, triumph and glory. The faint sound of our prayers, a hymn of trust that ascends with faith, hope and devotion. The air humming with the scent of our hope that inspires our souls with joy. The ground firm with our love that heals our wounds. The sky reflecting our strength that uplifts our spirits. The earth trembling with our faith that endures with power and resilience. A hand leading us through the shadows with light, guidance and hope. A fire warming our resolve with heat, passion and purification. A refuge in the midst of our storms with peace, shelter and comfort. The air grows thick with the scent of anticipation and solemnity, a heavy fragrance mingling with the dry, cracked earth of Moab, the faint aroma of cedar carried on the desert breeze, the lingering trace of burnt offerings from makeshift altars, the subtle hint of myrrh from sacred rituals, the earthy scent of wild herbs baked under the relentless sun, the faint whisper of olive oil from anointing ceremonies, the delicate fragrance of desert blossoms stirred by the wind, the rich aroma of juniper from sacred groves, and the subtle scent of sage wafting through the air. The ground trembling beneath the weight of a people standing on the threshold of a covenant renewed, their footsteps echoing with the promise of a future yet to unfold. The sky painted with the hues of a dawn that promises both blessing and judgment, its colors shifting from soft gold to deep crimson, streaked with the first light of a new day, the promise of divine intervention, the glow of eternal hope, the reflection of divine glory, and the hint of heavenly light, a voice rising from the plains of Moab like a clarion call, echoing through the ages, a song woven with the threads of promise, warning, redemption, divine justice, eternal hope, spiritual guidance, divine love, and eternal truth, a light casting long shadows over the Jordan's edge, illuminating the path ahead with divine intent, purpose, guidance, love, eternal truth, and divine favor. Can the weight of Moses' final words ignite a fire of obedience within your soul? A hand guiding you through the choices that lie ahead with wisdom, clarity, strength, compassion, grace, divine favor, and eternal love. A refuge in the face of divine consequences with peace, shelter, solace, protection, grace, mercy, divine presence, and eternal hope. A strength to choose life over death with courage, faith, resolve, determination, love, devotion, eternal purpose, and divine calling. Might this moment of decision mirror your own crossroads, where faith battles fear with resolve, determination, trust, perseverance, hope, love, and devotion, where love contends with rebellion with compassion, forgiveness, grace, mercy, understanding, divine love, and eternal grace, where hope wrestles with despair, with perseverance, hope, endurance, faith, trust, divine strength, and eternal love. The book of Deuteronomy unfolds further, a rich and intricate tapestry of law, love, divine purpose, eternal covenant, spiritual legacy, divine calling, and eternal glory. As Moses prepares this new generation to enter the fertile and promised lands of Canaan, his voice a bridge between their past wanderings through the wilderness of trial, hardship, divine encounter, growth, transformation, and divine favor in their future inheritance of promise, prosperity, divine favor, eternal blessing, divine glory, and eternal love, a mirror reflecting our own struggles with commitment, consequence, dedication, and the sacred call to covenant with faith, obedience, love, devotion, surrender, divine purpose, and eternal calling. Will you heed this call with an open heart, humility, devotion, surrender, faith, love, and obedience, or drift into the shadows of disobedience with hardness, pride, rebellion, indifference, defiance, pride, and unbelief, a heart deaf to his voice with stubbornness, defiance, coldness, pride, unbelief, and rebellion, a soul lost to the wilderness of self with despair, aimlessness, confusion, lostness, chaos, hopelessness, and spiritual drift, a life unanchored from his divine and unchanging purpose with case, uncertainty, instability, hopelessness, spiritual drift, lost destiny, and eternal separation. The air hums with the scent of burnt offerings rising from stone altars built with care, devotion, reverence, and love. The faint rustle of palm leaves swaying in the desert wind, the earthy aroma of the Moab plains enriched by the toil of a liberated people, the subtle fragrance of wild herbs, the hint of olive oil from anointing ceremonies, the dry scent of desert sands, the faint trace of juniper from sacred groves, the delicate aroma of desert thyme, the rich scent of acacia wood, and the faint whisper of sandalwood from sacred rites, the ground firm with the weight of a nation's covenant, its surface cracked yet holding the promise of fertility, abundance, renewal, prosperity, divine blessing, eternal favor, and divine love. The sky a vast canvas of divine promise stretching from horizon to horizon, painted with the colors of dawn, destiny, divine light, eternal hope, spiritual renewal, divine glory, and eternal presence. The earth yielding to the footsteps of a people on the brink of a new era, their sandals leaving imprints of hope, trepidation, faith, determination, legacy, purpose, divine calling, and eternal mission. This is no mere farewell, it is a summons to remember with gratitude, reverence, reflection, thanksgiving, faith, and devotion, to choose with intentionality, wisdom, discernment, faith, devotion, obedience, and love, to live with purpose, faith, devotion, commitment, obedience, love, divine purpose, and eternal calling. Deuteronomy's latter chapters pulse with the heartbeat of a God who loves fiercely, yet judges justly. A narrative that draws you into the tension of blessing and curse, the beauty of obedience, and the tragedy of rebellion. The air filled with the scent of incense, the smoke of sacrifice, the rich soil of the land, the breath of divine presence, the aroma of communal worship, the fragrance of sacred herbs, the hint of frankincense, and the scent of myrrh, the ground trembling with the weight of decision, consequence, divine will, eternal significance, divine justice, divine love, and eternal purpose. The sky reflecting their choice, commitment, faith, destiny, love, obedience, and divine favor. The earth groaning with their legacy, heritage, future impact, spiritual calling, divine favor, and eternal glory. The plains of Moab stretch wide under the vast expanse of the heavens, their vastness a testament to the journey's end, the trials overcome, the victories achieved, the lessons learned, the divine encounters remembered, and the spiritual growth attained. The Jordan River murmurs with the promise of crossing into a land of milk and honey, its waters reflecting the hope of a new beginning, prosperity, fulfillment, divine blessing, eternal promise, divine glory, and eternal love. The mountains of Gilead loom with silent witness to their struggles, triumphs, divine encounters, spiritual growth, covenant relationship, eternal legacy, and divine favor. The wilderness fades into a distant memory of trials, lessons, divine provision, growth, transformation, divine favor, spiritual renewal, and eternal calling. The air saturated with the scent of hope, trepidation, anticipation, faith, renewal, love, divine presence, and eternal glory. The ground quaking with the weight of transition, change, destiny, purpose, divine calling, eternal mission, and divine love. The sky painted with the turmoil of a people's critical and defining choice. The earth resonating with the burden of their storied and tumultuous past. Echoing with the voices, prayers, sacrifices, songs, testimonies, legacies, and divine encounters of their ancestors. To embrace this truth is to stand in the presence of the eternal, where fear melts into faith with surrender, trust, obedience, love, devotion, divine connection, and eternal bond. And love becomes the anchor of your soul with stability, strength, devotion, commitment, faith, eternal bond, and divine love. A beacon guiding your darkest night with hope, light, salvation, divine presence, guidance, love, eternal truth, and divine glory. A refuge shielding your trembling spirit with peace, safety, comfort, protection, grace, mercy, divine favor, eternal hope, and divine love. A strength uplifting your weary soul with courage, fortitude, resilience, power, endurance, faith, love, divine strength, and eternal support. A light illuminating your uncertain steps with clarity, direction, purpose, meaning, guidance, wisdom, divine truth, eternal light, and divine favor. A voice comforting your lonely and aching heart with solace, love, compassion, mercy, understanding, peace, divine presence, eternal love, and divine grace. A hand steadying your faltering journey through the storms of life with strength, support, stability, grace, divine intervention, love, mercy, eternal guidance, and divine favor. A fire purifying your innermost will with holy and refining fire. A song lifting your praise to the heavens above with joy, celebration, gratitude, worship, adoration, thanksgiving, love, divine praise, and eternal glory. A love enduring all the trials that beset you with resilience, fidelity, devotion, commitment, faithfulness, eternal bond, divine love, eternal presence, and divine favor. A peace transcending the storms of life that rage around with calm, serenity, tranquility, assurance, divine peace, harmony, eternal rest, divine favor, and eternal glory. A joy blossoming in the arid wilderness of your soul with beauty, renewal, life, hope, restoration, redemption, divine joy, eternal hope, and divine glory. A grace overflowing in boundless and unending mercy with abundance, compassion, forgiveness, love, redemption, divine favor, eternal grace, divine blessing, eternal love, divine presence, and eternal glory. A legacy crowning your earthly walk with divine and eternal purpose, meaning, fulfillment, eternal life, divine glory, eternal reward, and divine favor. To turn away is to wander in a wilderness of your own making, your heart a barren void with emptiness, desolation, loss, despair, sorrow, hopelessness, and spiritual lostness. Your soul a ship without rudder with case, us. Confusion, turmoil, lostness, instability, despair, and eternal separation. Your spirit crushed by pride with arrogance, self-deception, rebellion, hardness, defiance, pride, and lost faith. Your voice silenced by doubt with fear, uncertainty, hesitation, insecurity, disbelief, lostness, and spiritual drift. Your life adrift in turmoil with instability, despair, lostness, chaos, hopelessness, spiritual drift, and eternal loss. Your hope buried under fear with hopelessness, gloom, darkness, sorrow, despair, lost faith, and eternal despair. Your faith eroded by rebellion with weakness, fragility, disbelief, disobedience, lost faith, spiritual apathy, and eternal separation. Your love unawakened by grace with coldness, indifference, hardness, apathy, rebellion, lostness, and eternal lostness. Your peace lost to strife with conflict, discord, unrest, turmoil, case, despair, and eternal conflict. Your joy dimmed by shadows with darkness, sorrow, despair, gloom, lostness, hopelessness, and eternal darkness. Your strength untested with vulnerability, lack, inadequacy, fragility, weakness, lostness, and eternal weakness. Your obedience forsaken with defiance, disobedience, rebellion, pride, lostness, spiritual drift, and eternal disobedience. Your destiny unfulfilled with neglect, regret, emptiness, lost purpose, despair, eternal loss, and spiritual separation. But to know this God is to feel His presence ignite within with warmth, passion, light, love, divine power, eternal connection, divine favor, eternal presence, and divine glory. To hear His voice in the stillness of your soul with a clarity that calms your fears with peace, assurance, comfort, stability, divine love, mercy, eternal grace, and divine favor. A whisper soothing the raging storm that threatens to overwhelm you with strength, stability, protection, grace, mercy, divine intervention, eternal hope, and divine love. To sense His power as a light, breaking the endless and oppressive night with brilliance. Hope, salvation, redemption, divine light, eternal promise, divine glory, and eternal truth. A promise carved in the constellations that light the heavens above with guidance, assurance, faith, divine promise, eternal hope, divine glory, eternal truth, and divine favor. A hand raising you from the ruins of despair that have held you captive with power, love, redemption, restoration, divine favor, eternal grace, divine love, and eternal glory. A breath reviving your weary and broken spirit with new and vibrant life. Energy, renewal, transformation, divine strength, eternal renewal, and divine favor. A song leading your wandering and lost path with direction. Purpose, hope, clarity, divine guidance, eternal truth, divine love, and eternal glory. A fire cleansing the dross and impurities of your soul with purity, holiness, renewal, transformation, divine purification, eternal cleansing, divine favor, and eternal glory. A refuge shielding your trembling and vulnerable heart with peace, security, comfort, divine protection, grace, love, mercy, eternal hope, divine favor, and eternal love. A strength never failing in the moments of your greatest and most profound weakness with resilience. Fortitude, power, endurance, divine strength, eternal support, divine love, and eternal glory. A love spanning the vast expanse of eternity with depth, fidelity, devotion, commitment, eternal bond, divine love, eternal presence, divine favor, and eternal glory. A peace beyond the grasp of human understanding with serenity, calm, tranquility, divine assurance, eternal peace, divine harmony, eternal rest, divine favor, and eternal glory. A joy rising phoenix-like from the ashes of your deepest and most enduring sorrow with triumph, renewal, victory, restoration, divine joy, eternal hope, divine glory, and eternal love. A grace flooding the arid and desolate plains of your life with abundance, mercy, forgiveness, love, redemption, divine favor, eternal grace, divine blessing, eternal love, divine presence, eternal glory, and divine favor. A redemption crowning your journey with hope, purpose, fulfillment, eternal life, divine glory, eternal reward, divine favor, and eternal love. A presence ever near in the quiet and sacred moments of your existence with intimacy, companionship, divine connection, spiritual communion, eternal presence, divine love, eternal grace, and divine glory. The covenant renewed blessings and curses. The air shifts with the weight of a solemn and sacred covenant. The ground trembling under the presence of a holy and majestic God whose power fills the heavens and earth with glory. Might, divine majesty, eternal authority, divine love, and divine presence. The sky ablaze with the memory of Sinai's fire. Smoke, thunder, divine revelation, holy presence, and divine glory. Its echoes reverberating through time. History, eternity, divine memory, and divine favor. The earth quaking with the renewal of a sacred and eternal bond that binds a people to their Creator with love, justice, covenant relationship, divine purpose, eternal grace, and divine glory. The faint sound of the people's breath, a hymn of commitment, awe, reverence, dedication, faith, worship, adoration, love, and devotion. The air filled with the scent of sacred incense, the smoke of burnt offerings, the rich soil of Moab, the faint whisper of desert winds, the aroma of olive branches, the fragrance of myrrh, the subtle hint of rosewater, the scent of sacred spices, and the delicate aroma of frankincense. The ground steady with their resolve, determination, faith, obedience, devotion, love, surrender, and divine calling. The sky reflecting their hope, anticipation, trust, devotion, love, faith, obedience, and divine favor. The earth yielding to their dedication, love, surrender, worship, faith, obedience, divine calling, and eternal purpose. Can you hear the thunderous roar of God's voice? The intoxicating scent of offerings rising to the heavens with praise, supplication, adoration, thanksgiving, worship, love, and devotion. The ground shaking with His divine command, authority, will, justice, power, love, and divine presence. The sky splitting with His radiant, holy, glorious, majestic, eternal, divine presence, love, justice, and divine glory. The earth trembling with His eternal law, justice, covenant, divine purpose, love, divine favor, and eternal glory. Might this renewal of the covenant stir your heart to obedience with devotion, surrender, faith, humility, love, trust, adoration, and divine purpose. A strength born from love with courage, compassion, resilience, grace, mercy, faith, divine favor, and eternal love. A grace that binds you to His will with faithfulness, trust, commitment, adoration, obedience, love, eternal bond, and divine favor. Moses, standing before this new generation born in the crucible of the wilderness, renews the covenant with urgency, love, authority, prophetic vision, divine inspiration, spiritual leadership, eternal purpose, divine calling, and divine love. His words a bridge to their future and a testament to their past struggles, triumphs, divine encounters, spiritual growth, covenant relationship, eternal legacy, and divine favor. The air humming with the scent of His devotion, wisdom, divine inspiration, spiritual legacy, prophetic calling, eternal impact, divine love, and divine glory. The ground firm with His God-given authority, leadership, legacy, prophetic calling, divine mandate, spiritual heritage, eternal purpose, and divine favor. The sky a vast canvas of His enduring influence, spiritual heritage, divine purpose, eternal impact, divine favor, eternal glory, divine presence, and eternal love. The earth trembling with His heartfelt plea, charge, blessing, farewell, prophetic testimony, divine commission, eternal message, and divine glory. The renewal deepens with the restatement of the law, a call to remember the commandments first given amidst the smoke, fire, thunder, and divine presence of Mount Sinai, now tailored, adapted, and expanded for a people about to enter the fertile, promised, and abundant lands of Canaan. Here, O Israel, Moses declares with solemnity, gravity, passion, authority, divine urgency, prophetic power, eternal truth, and divine love. The Lord your God is one, Deuteronomy 6:4. The air thick with the sacred and unifying scent of devotion. Unity, spiritual harmony, divine oneness, eternal bond, divine love, divine presence, and eternal glory. The ground steady with the unassailable sovereignty, power, majesty, holiness, divine authority, eternal presence, divine glory, and divine love of the Almighty. The sky a mirror of His majestic, holy, transcendent, eternal, glorious, divine presence, love, justice, and eternal glory. The earth trembling with the weight of His divine unity, oneness, authority, love, justice, covenant, eternal purpose, and divine favor. The faint sound of their chant, a whisper of devotion, unity, worship, reverence, adoration, faith, love, and obedience. The air filled with the scent of worship, reverence, adoration, sacrifice, praise, divine presence, love, and eternal glory. The ground firm with their faith, commitment, obedience, trust, dedication, love, devotion, and divine calling. The sky reflecting their awe, wonder, humility, faith, love, devotion, obedience, and divine favor. The earth yielding to their love, trust, surrender, dedication, worship, obedience, faith, and purpose. This Shema, a cornerstone of their spiritual identity, heritage, covenant relationship, national consciousness, divine calling, eternal purpose, spiritual legacy, and eternal bond, demands love with all their heart, soul, and strength. Deuteronomy 6:5, a command that envelops every fiber of their being with purpose, dedication, devotion, passion, faith, love, obedience, and divine favor. The air heavy with the scent of wholeheartedness, surrender, passion, commitment, love, devotion, faith, and eternal love. The ground quaking with the force of their response, commitment, vow, pledge, devotion, faith, love, and obedience. The sky a vast canvas of their dedication, zeal, love, faith, obedience, worship, devotion, and divine calling. The earth groaning with the depth of their pledge, promise, faith, devotion, surrender, love, obedience, and eternal purpose. The faint sound of their hearts a whisper of adoration, love, worship, surrender, praise, devotion, faith, and divine love. The air filled with the scent of sacrifice, devotion, offering, service, worship, love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground steady with their faith, trust, obedience, dedication, love, commitment, devotion, and divine purpose. The sky reflecting their fervor, passion, commitment, love, faith, devotion, obedience, and divine favor. The earth yielding to their obedience, loyalty, dedication, worship, love, faith, divine calling, and eternal love. Moses urges them to teach these sacred, life-giving, eternal, divine, transformative, holy, and prophetic words to their children with diligence, care, intentionality, responsibility, love, devotion, faith, and wisdom, to bind them as symbols on their hands and foreheads as a constant reminder of their covenant, identity, faith, heritage, divine calling, eternal purpose, and divine favor. To write them on the door frames and gates of their dwellings as a testament to their faith, heritage, devotion, spiritual legacy, eternal purpose, divine favor, and eternal glory. The air filled with the rich scent of legacy, heritage, tradition, continuity, memory, divine favor, eternal impact, and divine love. The ground trembling with the weight of their duty, responsibility, stewardship, legacy, calling, purpose, divine mission, and eternal calling. The sky a mirror of the responsibility that rests upon their shoulders with purpose, honor, duty, faith, love, divine calling, and eternal purpose. The earth groaning with the heritage that they pass down to future generations with pride, care, love, devotion, faith, legacy, and divine favor. The faint sound of their lessons a whisper of hope, guidance, wisdom, instruction, legacy, love, faith, and divine purpose. The air humming with the scent of wisdom, instruction, mentorship, knowledge, faith, devotion, love, and divine favor. The ground steady with their care, nurturing, love, devotion, responsibility, faith, purpose, and divine calling. The sky reflecting their love, commitment, faith, responsibility, hope, devotion, divine favor, and eternal glory. The earth yielding to their wisdom, legacy, duty, heritage, purpose, love, faith, and eternal purpose. The faint sound of their stories a hymn of tradition, continuity, heritage, memory, faith, divine calling, eternal purpose, and divine love. The air filled with the scent of memory, remembrance, history, legacy, divine calling, eternal purpose, divine love, and eternal glory. The ground firm with their faith, devotion, purpose, identity, love, obedience, divine favor, and eternal love. The sky a canvas of their hope, vision, future, destiny, divine promise, eternal light, divine glory, and eternal love. The earth trembling with their legacy, identity, destiny, divine calling, eternal purpose, divine favor, eternal glory, and divine presence. Yet, this covenant comes with a dual edge: blessings for obedience, curses for disobedience, outlined with stark clarity, detail, precision, divine authority, eternal significance, divine justice, and divine love in chapters 27 to 28, the air growing tense with the scent of choice, consequence, accountability, divine will, eternal significance, divine justice, divine love, and eternal purpose. the ground quaking with the weight of decision, judgment, divine justice, responsibility, fate, divine purpose, eternal calling, and divine favor. The sky darkening with the shadow of warning, retribution, consequence, divine displeasure, judgment, divine wrath, divine correction, and divine justice. The earth groaning with the burden of responsibility, fate, divine justice, eternal significance, divine covenant, divine judgment, eternal truth, and divine love. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands, all these blessings will come on you. Deuteronomy 28, 1-2. The air sweet with the scent of prosperity, abundance, divine favor, blessing, grace, divine love, eternal promise, and divine glory. The ground firm with the promise of fertility, harvest, growth, provision, abundance, divine blessing, eternal favor, and divine love. The sky bright with the light of blessing, grace, mercy, divine love, favor, divine presence, eternal glory, and divine favor. The earth yielding to the bounty of provision, peace, prosperity, abundance, divine blessing, eternal favor, divine love, and eternal glory. Cities prospering with growth, stability, development, security, flourishing, peace, prosperity, and divine favor. Fields yielding abundant crops with richness, plenty, sustenance, fertility, harvest, abundance, divine provision, and eternal blessing. Families thriving with unity, harmony, and peace, prosperity, divine favor, and eternal love. The faint sound of their song, a hymn of joy, gratitude, celebration, praise, worship, thanksgiving, adoration, love, and divine praise. The air humming with the scent of thanksgiving, appreciation, worship, devotion, praise, love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground steady with peace, harmony, security, stability, prosperity, divine favor, eternal promise, and divine love. The sky reflecting hope, blessing, divine favor, grace, love, divine light, eternal glory, and divine presence. The earth trembling with life, abundance, fulfillment, prosperity, divine presence, eternal promise, divine love, and eternal glory. But turn away from this path of obedience, faithfulness, devotion, love, trust, surrender, and divine calling, and all these curses will come on you. Deuteronomy 28:15. The air souring with the scent of famine, scarcity, divine judgment, retribution, wrath, divine displeasure, divine correction, and divine wrath. The ground quaking with the tremor of drought, desolation, ruin, destruction, collapse, divine punishment, divine judgment, and eternal consequence. The sky darkening with the shadow of plague, disaster, woe, retribution, divine wrath, judgment, divine correction, divine justice, and eternal loss. The earth groaning with the weight of defeat, loss, destruction, chaos, desolation, divine judgment, eternal consequence, and divine displeasure. Cities besieged with destruction, case, lapse, devastation, ruin, suffering, despair, and divine wrath. Fields barren with sterility, poverty, famine, desolation, loss, scarcity, divine judgment, and eternal loss. Families scattered with division, sorrow, despair, displacement, grief, anguish, hopelessness, and eternal separation. The faint sound of their cries, a lament of loss, despair, regret, suffering, mourning, anguish, hopelessness, divine judgment, and eternal loss. The air heavy with the scent of suffering, mourning, desolation, grief, pain, divine judgment, eternal loss, and divine correction. The ground stained with tears of anguish, grief, hopelessness, pain, sorrow, despair, divine judgment, and eternal sorrow. The sky a mirror of sorrow, punishment, judgment, divine correction, retribution, divine justice, eternal consequence, and divine wrath. The earth yielding to desolation, defeat, ruin, abandonment, divine judgment, eternal consequence, divine wrath, and eternal separation. For us in the modern age, this duality of blessings and curses mirrors the choices we face in our daily lives with striking relevance. Urgency, prophetic insight, divine wisdom, eternal truth, and divine love. How often do we stand at our own personal favor, eternal blessing, and divine glory? The ground steady with the foundation of success, fulfillment, prosperity, achievement, growth, divine blessing, eternal promise, and divine love. The sky bright with the radiant hope of a better and brighter future. The earth yielding to the possibility of growth, development, transformation, divine favor, eternal promise, divine glory, and eternal love, only to choose the path of rebellion, neglect, self-interest, disobedience, pride, defiance, unbelief, and spiritual drift with hesitation, doubt, fear, arrogance, and lost faith. The blessings of obedience, peace, provision, purpose, community, harmony, divine favor, love, eternal life, divine presence, and eternal glory clash with the curses of defiant strife, scarcity, isolation, conflict, suffering, divine judgment, despair, eternal loss, divine wrath, and eternal separation. The air humming with the scent of our decisions, actions, their far-reaching consequences, eternal impact, divine accountability, spiritual legacy, divine calling, and eternal purpose. The ground trembling with the weight of our responsibilities, choices, accountability, destiny, divine calling, eternal purpose, and divine favor. The sky reflecting the outcome of our paths, decisions, destinies, legacies, eternal fate, divine judgment, and divine love. The earth groaning with the legacy, influence, repercussions, eternal significance, divine judgment, divine favor, and eternal glory of our deeds and behavior. This call to choose life, Deuteronomy 30:19, is a mirror to our souls, a hand guiding us through the shadows of indecision with wisdom, support, love, grace, divine direction, eternal guidance, and divine favor. A fire warming our resolve to act with faith, courage, purity, devotion, love, divine favor, and eternal purpose. A refuge in the midst of our storms of doubt, fear, uncertainty, chaos, despair, lostness, and hopelessness with peace, strength, grace, divine protection, eternal hope, divine love, and eternal glory. A strength to embrace the path of righteousness, love, obedience, faith, devotion, divine purpose, and eternal calling with determination, grace, devotion, divine favor, eternal purpose, divine love, and eternal glory. The Song of Moses, a witness to faith, judgment, redemption, prophecy, divine promise, eternal truth, divine glory, and eternal love. The air grows still with the weight of a prophetic and timeless song, the ground trembling with the sound of Moses' voice resonating with authority. Emotion, divine inspiration, prophetic power, spiritual depth, eternal significance, divine love, and divine glory. The sky, a vast and expansive canvas of divine witness stretching across the horizon from east to west. The earth quaking with the words of judgment, hope, redemption, prophecy, divine promise, eternal truth, divine calling, divine glory, and eternal love. The faint sound of the people's breath, a whisper of awe, reverence, anticipation, humility, faith, devotion, love, worship, and adoration. The air filled with the scent of cedar, myrrh, the dry desert breeze, the faint hint of sacrificial smoke, the aroma of wildflowers, the fragrance of sacred oils, the subtle scent of desert sage, the hint of cinnamon from sacred rituals, and the rich aroma of sandalwood, the ground steady with their rapt attention, silence, contemplation, devotion, unity, worship, faith, and love, the sky reflecting their fear, wonder, hope, faith, awe, love, devotion, obedience, and divine favor, the earth yielding to their collective stillness. Reflection, devotion, unity, worship, faith, love, and divine calling. Can you hear the haunting and soul-stirring melody of Moses' song, the intoxicating scent of truth? Prophecy, divine revelation, wisdom, justice, eternal promise, divine love, and divine glory rising to the heavens with power. Grace, authority, divine presence, love, eternal glory, and divine favor. The ground shaking with the power. Weight, significance, impact, eternal message, divine authority, divine purpose, and eternal truth of his words. The sky splitting with the glory. Majesty, holiness, divine presence, eternal truth, divine light, divine glory, and eternal love of God's will, purpose, and love. The earth trembling with the weight of their destiny, future, divine purpose, eternal calling, spiritual legacy, divine favor, eternal glory, and eternal love. Might this song stir your heart to repentance with reflection, introspection, humility, surrender, faith, love, devotion, and divine favor. A strength born from introspection, faith, trust, resilience, love, devotion, divine favor, and eternal peace. A grace that redeems your past with forgiveness, renewal, restoration, transformation, divine mercy, eternal grace, divine love, and eternal glory. In Deuteronomy 32, Moses sings a song to teach, warn, inspire, prophesy, leave a lasting legacy, fulfill his divine mission, impart eternal truth, glorify God, and fulfill his eternal calling. The air humming with the scent of his wisdom, experience, divine inspiration, prophetic insight, spiritual authority, eternal calling, divine love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground firm with his intent to guide, protect, lead, preserve, bless, inspire, glorify, and fulfill. The sky a mirror of his prophetic vision, foresight, spiritual legacy, divine calling, eternal purpose, divine honor, eternal glory, divine presence, divine love, and eternal favor. The earth trembling with his sacred charge, mission, eternal message, prophetic testimony, divine commission, spiritual legacy, divine favor, eternal impact, divine glory, and eternal love. The song recounts God's unwavering and steadfast faithfulness with vivid imagery, poetic beauty, and divine narrative, how he cared for Israel like an eagle stirring its nest, hovering over its young, and carrying them on his wings with care, protection, and love. Deuteronomy 32:11. The air sweet with the scent of protection, care, divine nurturing, parental love, divine provision, grace, mercy, divine favor, and eternal love. The ground steady with the guidance, support, provision, care, love, divine favor, and eternal grace of a loving and compassionate Father. The sky bright with the light of his watchful eye, presence, care, oversight, divine love, and eternal glory. The earth yielding to the love, provision, sustenance, grace, mercy, divine protection, divine favor, and eternal love that sustained them through the wilderness. The faint sound of their praise, a hymn of gratitude, thanksgiving, adoration, worship, reverence, love, devotion, faith, and eternal praise. The air filled with the scent of memory, divine memory, historical reflection, spiritual heritage, legacy, divine favor, eternal promise, and eternal glory. The ground firm with trust, reliance, faith, devotion, obedience, love, surrender, and divine calling. The sky reflecting mercy, compassion, grace, divine favor, love, justice, divine presence, eternal glory, and divine love. The earth trembling with faith, devotion, loyalty, gratitude, obedience, worship, love, divine calling, and eternal favor. Yet, it laments their rebellion, unfaithfulness, and spiritual waywardness, how they turn to idols of wood and stone, forgetting their God and his mighty deeds of deliverance, provision, protection, love, grace, and divine favor. The air souring with the scent of betrayal, idolatry, spiritual adultery, unfaithfulness, sin, rebellion, pride, disobedience, and spiritual lostness. The ground quaking with guilt, shame, regret, remorse, repentance, sorrow, pain, despair, and divine judgment. The sky darkening with the shadow of their sin, disobedience, rebellion, spiritual downfall, divine judgment, eternal consequence, divine wrath, and divine displeasure. The earth groaning with the weight of their spiritual downfall, moral failure, separation from God, divine judgment, eternal consequence, divine displeasure, divine correction, and eternal separation. The faint sound of their murmurs, a whisper of regret, repentance, sorrow, longing, plea, cry, prayer, supplication, and divine seeking. The air heavy with the scent of sorrow, loss, despair, brokenness, grief, anguish, divine judgment, and eternal loss. The ground stained with tears of remorse, failure, brokenness, guilt, pain, despair, sorrow, and divine correction. The sky a canvas of judgment, retribution, divine displeasure, correction, punishment, justice, divine wrath, eternal consequence, and divine justice. The earth yielding to the consequences, punishment, results, repercussions, divine discipline, eternal judgment, divine justice, and eternal separation of their actions, choices, and behavior. The song ends with a promise of vindication, restoration, divine triumph, eternal hope, divine justice, eternal redemption, divine glory, and eternal love. Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, Deuteronomy 32:43. The air sweet with the scent of justice, redemption, divine victory, restoration, salvation, eternal peace, divine favor, divine love, eternal glory, and divine presence. The ground firm with the promise of renewal, reconciliation, hope, peace, divine favor, eternal restoration, divine glory, and eternal love. The sky bright with hope, salvation, glory, divine favor, eternal light, divine presence, eternal promise, divine glory, eternal love, and divine favor. The earth trembling with the assurance of God's faithfulness, triumph, eternal love, divine justice, redemption, eternal glory, divine favor, eternal love, and eternal presence. The faint sound of their songs, a hymn of joy, celebration, praise, thanksgiving, worship, adoration, love, devotion, and divine praise. The air humming with faith, hope, trust, devotion, unity, love, obedience, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground steady with love, commitment, unity, faith, obedience, devotion, divine love, and eternal purpose, the sky reflecting grace, mercy, forgiveness, redemption, divine compassion, eternal promise, divine light, divine glory, eternal love, and divine favor, the earth yielding to peace, harmony, divine restoration, eternal reconciliation, divine glory, eternal love, divine presence, and eternal favor. This song serves as a profound and reflective mirror to our own lives and spiritual journeys in the modern and complex world. How often do we, like the children of Israel, forget the care, provision, love, guidance, protection, grace, mercy, divine favor, and eternal love of God in our lives amidst the distractions, demands, temptations, challenges, complexities, trials, and tribulations of the present day. The air filled with the scent of distraction, neglect, worldly pursuits, materialism, selfishness, corruption, greed, pride, spiritual lostness, and eternal separation with despair and rebellion. The ground quaking with our forgetfulness, ingratitude, spiritual apathy, instability, unrest, chaos, confusion, lostness, despair, and spiritual drift with lost faith and eternal loss. The sky clouded with doubt, unbelief, confusion, spiritual blindness, darkness, uncertainty, despair, hopelessness, fear, spiritual lostness, and eternal separation with divine judgment. The earth stained with the marks of our spiritual rebellion, indifference in sin, corruption, decay, moral decline, separation, lostness, divine judgment, and eternal consequence with spiritual death. The call to remember his mighty deeds, to repent of our modern idols, be it wealth, technology, power, status, fame, material possessions, worldly success, digital dominance, or virtual reality resonates with urgency, relevance, prophetic insight, divine wisdom, eternal truth, divine love, and eternal glory today. The air humming with the scent of reflection, introspection, repentance, renewal, hope, purpose, transformation, grace, love, divine favor, eternal hope, and divine presence with eternal love. The ground steady with resolve, commitment, faith, obedience, stability, strength, righteousness, trust, devotion, love, eternal promise, and divine favor with eternal glory. The sky the mirror of hope, redemption, restoration, divine favor, light, guidance, salvation, peace, eternal promise, divine glory, divine presence, eternal love, and eternal glory with divine favor. The earth trembling with a renewed faith, devotion, spiritual awakening, transformation, divine connection, love, mercy, compassion, eternal life, divine favor, eternal grace, and eternal glory with divine love. A hand leading us back to the path of righteousness with love, direction, support, grace, divine intervention, eternal guidance, and divine favor. A fire purifying our hearts from idolatry, materialism, sin, corruption, pride, rebellion, spiritual lostness, and eternal separation with holiness, purity, renewal, and transformation, divine cleansing, eternal favor, and divine glory. A refuge in our moments of spiritual wandering, lostness, confusion, despair, turmoil, chaos, hopelessness, and eternal lostness with peace, security, grace, divine protection, eternal hope, divine love, and eternal glory. The death of Moses, a legacy of faith, sacrifice, eternal impact, divine honor, spiritual triumph, divine reward, eternal glory, and divine love. The air grows heavy with the scent of finality. Farewell, transition, closure, divine mystery, eternal significance, and divine love. The ground trembling beneath the weight of a leader's departure. The end of an era filled with divine encounters, miracles, leadership, spiritual guidance, prophetic calling, divine favor, and eternal purpose. The sky painted with the soft colors of twilight, the fading light of day, the promise of eternal rest, the glow of divine favor, the hues of heavenly peace, the light of divine glory, the reflection of eternal hope, and the radiance of divine love. The earth quaking with the profound loss, change, transition, legacy, divine purpose, eternal significance, divine calling, and eternal glory. The faint sound of the people's sobs, a whisper of loss, grief, mourning, reverence, love, tribute, prayer, adoration, and worship. The air filled with the scent of cedar, dust, the lingering fragrance of his presence, the earthy aroma of the mountain, the subtle hint of anointing oil, the fragrance of wild roses, the scent of sacred incense, the aroma of desert lavender, and the rich scent of myrrh. The ground steady with their collective grief, respect, admiration, devotion, love, faith, hope, and divine favor. The sky reflecting their sorrow, reverence, love, honor, faith, hope, devotion, divine favor, and eternal love. The earth yielding to their silence, contemplation, prayer, homage, worship, love, and divine calling. Can you feel the weight of Moses' passing, the lingering scent of his legacy, devotion, faithfulness, sacrifice, spiritual triumph, divine honor, eternal glory, and divine love, the ground shaking with his absence, the void left behind, the impact of his life, leadership, and prophetic calling, the sky splitting with his ascent to divine rest, reward, eternal glory, divine presence, eternal love, and divine favor, the earth trembling with the memory of his wisdom, guidance, sacrifice, divine favor, eternal legacy, divine calling, and eternal glory. Might this moment stir your heart to leave a legacy of faith, a strength born from sacrifice, obedience, service, love, devotion, humility, divine favor, and eternal love. A grace that carries you and others forward with hope, purpose, inspiration, eternal significance, divine blessing, eternal reward, divine glory, and eternal love. In Deuteronomy 34, Moses climbs Mount Nebo at God's command with obedience, submission, divine direction, spiritual maturity, prophetic faith, divine love, and eternal purpose. The air humming with the scent of his obedience, dedication, resolve, submission to divine will, spiritual maturity, prophetic calling, divine love, eternal purpose, and divine favor. The ground firm with his unwavering faith, trust, commitment, devotion, love, obedience, divine favor, and eternal love. The sky a canvas of his prophetic vision, foresight, spiritual legacy, divine calling, eternal purpose, divine honor, eternal glory, divine presence, divine love, eternal favor, and eternal glory. The earth trembling with his sacred charge, final mission, eternal message, prophetic testimony, divine commission, spiritual legacy, divine favor, eternal impact, divine glory, eternal love, and divine presence. Shalom. From the mountain's heights, he sees the promised land in all its glory, expanse, beauty, and promise. The Lord showed him the whole land from Gilead to Dan, all of Naphtali, the territory of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the Mediterranean Sea, the Negev and the whole region from the valley of Jericho, the city of palms, as far as Zoar. Deuteronomy 34:1-3. The air filled with the scent of promise, fulfillment, divine vision, hope, anticipation, divine favor, eternal blessing, divine glory, and eternal love. The ground steady with hope, anticipation, longing, expectation, readiness, faith, devotion, love, and divine calling. The sky bright with the light of God's promise, blessing, covenant, divine favor, eternal hope, divine glory, divine presence, and eternal love. The earth yielding to the destiny, future, inheritance, prosperity, divine calling, eternal promise, divine love, and eternal glory that lay before them. The faint sound of his breath, a whisper of awe, wonder, gratitude, reverence, joy, peace, love, devotion, and divine favor. The air humming with the scent of gratitude, trust, faith, devotion, love, worship, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground firm with faith, expectation, readiness, anticipation, hope, love, devotion, and divine purpose. The sky reflecting joy, hope, and fulfillment, divine favor, blessing, grace, divine light, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal presence. The earth trembling with anticipation, excitement, preparation, purpose, destiny, divine favor, eternal love, and eternal glory. Yet, he does not enter this land of promise and abundance. Dying at the age of 120, his eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone, Deuteronomy 34:7. The air heavy with the scent of sacrifice, loss, devotion, selflessness, surrender, divine mystery, eternal love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground quaking with the weight of his departure, the end of his leadership, the transition to a new era, the loss of a beloved guide and prophet, the sky darkening with the shadow of sorrow, grief, farewell, parting, divine plan, divine will, divine mystery, and divine love. The earth groaning with the farewell to a beloved leader, prophet, servant, friend, spiritual father, divine vessel, and eternal legacy. The faint sound of their lament, a hymn of memory, respect, honor, tribute, love, gratitude, worship, devotion, and divine favor. The air filled with the scent of legacy, remembrance, eternal impact, divine honor, spiritual triumph, divine glory, eternal reward, divine love, and eternal presence. The ground steady with reverence, admiration, love, devotion, faith, hope, divine favor, and eternal love. The sky a mirror of honor, sacrifice, devotion, faith, divine glory, eternal reward, divine presence, eternal love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The earth yielding to his rest, eternal reward, divine peace, sacred legacy, divine presence, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal favor. God himself buries Moses in Moab, a mystery veiled in divine care, secrecy, providence, supernatural intervention, divine love, eternal grace, divine glory, and eternal presence. The air sweet with the scent of mystery, divine will, supernatural action, divine love, eternal grace, divine favor, eternal presence, and divine glory. The ground firm with the hand of God's loving, sovereign, compassionate, just, divine action, eternal purpose, and divine love. The sky bright with the promise of eternal rest, peace, glory, divine favor, heavenly reward, divine light, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal presence. The earth trembling with reverence, awe, wonder, humility, adoration, faith, love, divine devotion, and eternal favor. The faint sound of silence, a whisper of peace, tranquility, divine presence, eternal rest, divine communion, eternal love, divine favor, and eternal glory. The air humming with faith, trust, hope, devotion, love, obedience, divine glory, and eternal love. The ground steady with divine purpose, plan, fulfillment, justice, grace, eternal promise, divine love, and eternal glory. The sky reflecting love, grace, mercy, compassion, divine honor, eternal light, divine glory, eternal love, divine favor, and eternal presence. The earth yielding to the mystery of his burial, legacy, eternal significance, divine protection, spiritual triumph, eternal reward, divine glory, eternal love, and divine presence. The death of Moses is a profound and moving mirror to our own journey's end and the legacy we leave behind for future generations with purpose, impact, eternal significance, divine favor, eternal glory, and eternal love. How do we live our lives so that our departure leaves a mark of faith, obedience, service, love, devotion, sacrifice, spiritual triumph, divine honor, and eternal glory? The air filled with the scent of our choices, sacrifices, devotion, love, legacy, eternal impact, divine presence, eternal glory, and divine love. The ground trembling with the impact, influence, legacy, inspiration, divine favor, eternal significance, divine calling, and eternal love of our lives. The sky reflecting the faith, hope, inspiration, divine favor, eternal promise, divine glory, eternal love, and eternal presence we impart to others. The earth yielding to the story, testimony, heritage, influence, legacy, eternal purpose, divine favor, and eternal glory we leave for those who come after us with meaning, purpose, and eternal value his obedience, even to the point of death without entering the promised land, calls us to a faithfulness that transcends personal gain, ambition, desire, self-interest, pride, worldly success, human glory, and eternal separation. The air humming with the scent of sacrifice, selflessness, devotion, humility, service, love, divine favor, eternal glory, and divine love. The ground steady with resolve, commitment, love, dedication, faith, obedience, divine purpose, eternal calling, and divine favor. The sky a canvas of hope, inspiration, legacy, divine favor, eternal promise, spiritual triumph, divine glory, eternal love, divine presence, and eternal glory. The earth trembling with the weight of a life well lived, a purpose fulfilled, a faith enduring, a legacy eternal, a divine calling realized, a divine reward earned, an eternal glory attained, and an eternal love embraced, a hand guiding us to our eternal home with peace, comfort, assurance, divine presence, eternal love, divine favor, and eternal glory, a fire refining our final days with purity, holiness, grace, divine light, eternal cleansing, divine glory, and eternal love. A refuge in our transition with strength, support, divine presence, eternal rest, divine favor, eternal glory, and divine love. Modern reflections, living the covenant in today's complex, challenging, and dynamic world. The air today carries the scent of modernity, technology with its digital hum and electronic pulse, pollution with its acrid sting and toxic breath, progress with its promise of innovation and advancement, change with its unpredictable winds and transformative force, the ground trembling with the weight of global challenges, crises, transformations, human struggles, societal shifts, environmental pressures, spiritual unrest, and in global crises. The sky clouded with uncertainty, doubt, environmental change, human conflict, moral ambiguity, spiritual unrest, global instability, ethical dilemmas, and divine judgment. The earth groaning with the consequences of humanity's choices, actions, neglect, exploitation, irresponsibility, moral decline, environmental damage, spiritual lostness, and eternal separation. The faint sound of a world in flux, a whisper of need, desperation, hope, resilience, longing, prayer, human cry, divine seeking, and eternal longing. The air filled with the scent of innovation, struggle, adaptation, survival, human endeavor, progress, transformation, divine purpose, and eternal calling. The ground steady with the potential for renewal, progress, redemption, transformation, divine restoration, eternal hope, divine favor, and eternal glory. The sky reflecting a mix of hope, fear, possibility, responsibility, divine calling, eternal promise, divine favor, divine glory, and eternal love. The earth yielding to the call for action, stewardship, transformation, global unity, divine purpose, eternal mission, divine love, and eternal grace. Can you hear the echo of Deuteronomy in your life? The lingering scent of its ancient lessons rising with relevance, urgency, timelessness, divine wisdom, prophetic insight, eternal truth, divine love, and eternal glory. The ground shaking with its timeless call to faith, obedience, righteousness, love, devotion, surrender, divine purpose, and eternal calling. The sky splitting with the truth, wisdom, principles, eternal significance, divine authority, divine love, eternal glory, and divine presence of its teachings. The earth trembling with its enduring impact, application, transformative power, eternal relevance, divine calling, eternal favor, and eternal glory. Might this ancient story guide your modern path, a strength born from faith, commitment, trust, devotion, love, obedience, divine favor, and eternal love. A grace that transforms your world with love, justice, compassion, mercy, divine favor, eternal grace, divine glory, and eternal love. The covenant's principles: obedience, love, remembrance. Speak to us with urgency, clarity, authority, divine inspiration, eternal truth, divine purpose, divine love, and eternal glory. In the 21st century, the air humming with the scent of responsibility, duty, purpose, accountability, stewardship, moral action, divine calling, eternal mission, and divine love. The ground firm with the foundation of moral action, ethical living, spiritual integrity, justice, divine calling, eternal purpose, divine favor, and eternal glory. The sky a mirror of possibility, hope, redemption, divine favor, eternal promise, divine light, eternal glory, divine presence, eternal love, and divine favor. The earth trembling with the potential for change, renewal, transformation, divine restoration, eternal impact, divine favor, eternal glory, and eternal love. In a world grappling with the escalating crisis of climate change and environmental degradation, the blessings of stewardship and the curses of neglect mirror the warnings and promises of Deuteronomy 28 with startling relevance. Urgency, prophetic insight, divine wisdom, eternal truth, and divine love. The air heavy with the scent of carbon emissions, industrial waste, environmental decay, pollution, toxic fumes, chemical residues, urban smog, industrial haze, and greenhouse gases. The ground quaking with erosion, deforestation, soil depletion, land degradation, desertification, habitat loss, soil erosion, land subsidence, and ecosystem collapse. The sky darkened with storms, pollution, climate shifts, atmospheric changes, extreme weather, environmental collapse, global warming, ozone depletion, and climate chaos. The earth groaning with the loss of biodiversity, rising seas, natural disasters, ecological collapse, habitat destruction, species extinction, environmental refugees, ecosystem collapse, and climate displacement, the faint sound of melting glaciers, dying ecosystems, displaced communities, endangered species, environmental protests, climate summits, global cries, and climate warnings a lament of consequence. Warning, call to action, urgent need, divine judgment, global cry, eternal consequence, and divine correction. The air filled with the scent of action, sustainability, restoration, conservation, renewal, global responsibility, divine restoration, eternal hope, divine favor, and eternal love. The ground steady with hope for renewal, reforestation, environmental healing, ecological balance, divine restoration, eternal hope, divine favor, eternal glory, and divine love. The sky reflecting the potential for change, mitigation, recovery, divine restoration, eternal promise, divine favor, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal presence. The earth yielding to efforts of green living, renewable energy, ecological balance, global cooperation, sustainable development, divine stewardship, eternal purpose, divine love, and eternal grace. The faint sound of global movements, environmental activism, international collaboration, community efforts, environmental summits, climate action, global unity, and divine calling, a hymn of hope, responsibility, resilience, transformation, divine favor, eternal redemption, divine love, and eternal glory. In the pervasive and omnipresent grip of technology, idolatry lurks in the glow of screens, the relentless pursuit of status, the obsession with material wealth, power, fame, success, digital dominance, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. The air souring with the scent of distraction, addiction, spiritual emptiness, materialism, superficiality, moral decay, digital overload, spiritual lostness, and ethical decline. The ground trembling with the weight of isolation, disconnection, mental strain, social fragmentation, emotional distress, psychological turmoil, spiritual lostness, digital isolation, and moral confusion. The sky clouded with the shadow of loneliness, anxiety, superficiality, emotional turmoil, spiritual lostness, moral confusion, digital isolation, ethical decline, and spiritual drift. The earth stained with the neglect of human relationships, spiritual values, community bonds, moral integrity, divine connection, ethical living, spiritual purpose, and eternal calling. The faint sound of silence in crowded digital spaces, virtual realities, online interactions, technological overload, digital isolation, virtual disconnection, digital fatigue, and artificial dominance, a whisper of need, longing, spiritual hunger, human connection, divine seeking, eternal cry, spiritual awakening, and divine love. The air humming with the scent of balance, mindfulness, reconnection, spiritual awakening, divine relationship, moral renewal, eternal hope, divine favor, eternal love, and divine glory. The ground firm with discipline, self-control, faith, intentional living, moral strength, spiritual resilience, divine purpose, eternal calling, divine love, and eternal glory. The sky, a canvas of meaningful connection, purpose, divine relationship, spiritual renewal, eternal hope, divine favor, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal presence. The earth trembling with a return to spiritual roots, community engagement, holistic well-being, faith-based living, divine purpose, eternal calling, divine love, eternal glory, and divine favor. The call to choose life, Deuteronomy 30, verse 19, challenges us to love God and love others in a fractured, divided, complex, challenging, dynamic, globalized, and interconnected world. The air sweet with the scent of community, compassion, justice, solidarity, human dignity, divine love, eternal grace, divine favor, and eternal glory. The ground steady with the foundation of equality, care to human rights, ethical action, divine justice, eternal purpose, divine glory, and eternal love. The sky bright with the light of mercy, forgiveness, reconciliation, peace, divine grace, eternal promise, divine glory, eternal love, divine presence, and eternal favor. The earth yielding to acts of love, service, charity, social justice, global harmony, divine restoration, eternal redemption, divine presence, eternal glory, and divine love. The faint sound of our prayers, actions, advocacy, unity, worship, devotion, love, and faith, a hymn of hope, unity, transformation, healing, restoration, divine favor, eternal love, divine glory, and eternal presence. The air filled with the scent of action, responsibility, global citizenship, ethical leadership, divine calling, eternal mission, divine love, eternal glory, and divine favor. The ground firm with resolve, commitment, moral courage, faith, obedience, divine purpose, eternal favor, divine love, and eternal glory. The sky reflecting peace, harmony, justice, divine order, eternal promise, divine light, eternal glory, divine love, eternal presence, and divine favor. The earth trembling with the grace of a world renewed through faith, love, obedience, divine intervention, eternal redemption, divine presence, eternal glory, divine love, and eternal favor. This ancient covenant, forged in the wilderness of trials, forged in the fire of faith, sealed with the blood of sacrifice, blessed with divine presence, crowned with eternal promise, glorified with divine love, and sanctified with eternal glory, is our guiding light, compass, anchor, eternal truth, divine purpose, eternal calling, and divine love for today's multifaceted, complex, challenging, dynamic,